higher than they were yesterday.
If you wanted to bring in a product from China to the United
And good morning and welcome to the WSJM Morning Show, the video live stream portion of it for Wednesday, April 9th. I'm Ken Lundberg, and in the studios this morning, I'm fortunate enough to be joined by a couple of firefighters. This is cool. I don't think we've had firefighters in here this year, so thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
We're happy to be here.
These gentlemen are from the Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety. And why don't you just give a quick introduction to yourselves? I'll ask you to do this on the radio again, but we'll do a warm-up right now. Introduce yourselves and your roles, what you do, and where you're from.
I'm Justin Barden, firefighter inspector here at Benton Harbor City.
Okay.
I also do marijuana compliance
Oh, okay.
throughout the city. That just started this year.
Bring that up just a little bit closer, please, if you wouldn't mind. There you go. So I have a question about marijuana compliance. When you say marijuana compliance, what does that mean?
That would go through to make sure trash cans are sealed properly, locked for disposal of it.
Oh, okay. So like when we've got the grow operations around here, making sure they're doing all the things that they're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Through the city ordinance.
Did you hear about that Baroda Stevensville bust? The 550 plants they found, unlicensed grow facility?
Oh, wow. No, I did not.
Got to tune into WSJM. We were talking about it yesterday. It was pretty funny. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Would you please introduce yourself, sir?
Yeah, my name's Tim Tracy. I've been with the city of Benton Harbor for a couple years now, and I primarily do firefighting and then commercial fire inspections and soon-to-be rental inspections as well.
Okay, very good. You don't get the marijuana inspections?
No, I leave that to him.
All right, very good. All right, well, Tim and Justin are here to talk today about code enforcement. In a nutshell, what are we looking at with code enforcement? What's the issue that's happening out there?
So code enforcement's all about quality of life of the residents of Benton Harbor, and we have a trash problem. We have blight problems. We have people that don't even live in Benton Harbor bringing their trash and dumping it in the city.
Nice individuals.
And there's some amazing people in the city of Benton Harbor that deserve better than that.
Absolutely.
And we're trying to clean it up, and we have burned up houses all over and structurally unsafe houses that we even find homeless people taking up shelter in these houses that aren't safe, and we're just trying to clean up the city.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, here at the news station, we do hear about the fires, and we see it happening. And sometimes these are structures that are just abandoned, that somebody's taken up residence in, and the property owner may or may not have put in any kind of facility to stop people from getting in and causing trouble.
Yeah, so we also have a checklist for that, a secured house or not secured house.
Okay.
So we'd like them boarded up. I know people still break into them, but at least us driving by, we'll see those boards popped.
Yeah.
And then we go and...
Then you know something's up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if it's all right with you, we'd like to talk about all of that and just get the nitty-gritty down. And are there different colors for the stickers you guys slap on buildings that are out of compliance?
So we do have the red X we just started up.
Oh, okay.
So that is a structural collapse issue. So the roof's falling in, floors. It lets us know if we're coming up to abandoned house fire, hey, the structural is already
been cleared, yeah.
And or homeless people that are coming
Oh,
in.
goodness.
It kind of warns, like, hey, this is not a good place to be.
Yeah, okay.
We had an incident about a month ago where we had a fire in a house. We condemned the house, put up the plywood. The old inhabitants of the house pulled the plywood off and then moved back in with no utilities. The house is burnt up. There's no utilities. So they have no heat, no electricity, and they're just living in there. And we ended up driving by and saw the plywood removed, and we went in there and we're like, you guys can't be in here.
Yeah, because it's a personal safety matter. Yep. Okay. All right. Well, we want to hear about that story. We want to hear about other stories. We'll get to that in just a couple of minutes right here on the WSJM Morning Show. What we're going to do right now is we're concluding ABC News. I've got local news to talk about, some weather, some sports, and we'll get back to our video live stream in just a moment. It's the Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety talking about code enforcement here on the WSJM Morning Show.
We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit,
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
Good morning and welcome again to the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. It is 7:05 on your Wednesday, the 9th of April. Temperature outside right now under cloudy skies, 31 degrees in Benton Harbor, 32 in St. Joseph, South Haven is 31 degrees, Dowagiac 29, and New Buffalo is 31 degrees. In the feels like temperature in St. Joseph right now is 20 degrees, so keep that in mind. Get the winter coat, keep it out, maybe some gloves as well. The forecast for today does call for mostly cloudy skies, a 70% chance of rain or snow mix at some point this afternoon. It looks like probably around 5 o'clock that precipitation could move in. The high today otherwise is going to be around 42 degrees, winds out of the southeast, 15 miles per hour. Tonight's forecast, cloudy skies, an 80% chance of rain this evening. The low overnight is going to be around 35 degrees with winds out of the southeast. And then tomorrow, Thursday, we're looking at mostly cloudy with another chance of rain showers, a high around 48. The extended forecast, like they've been saying, maybe we get a spring-like weekend for once. So this will be nice. Without rain, hopefully. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Don't see any rain in the forecast, just partly cloudy skies and maybe even some mostly sunny skies on Saturday. The high on Friday, 50 degrees. The high on Saturday, 56. And the high on Sunday, that's going to be the beautiful one, 63 degrees. Yeah, so that's going to be nice. Some of the news that we're following from the WSJM newsroom this morning, and then we'll get to our interview. We have a couple of individuals in from the Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety, and we're talking about code enforcement. So we'll get to that in just a moment. But first off, from the WSJM newsroom, let the races begin. Still more than a year and a half out from the 2026 elections, and it appears there's going to be a race for Congress in the 4th Congressional District. Kalamazoo lawyer Jessica Schwartz has announced she will run again as a Democrat candidate, hoping to flip that seat from Republican to Democrat. She was in the race last time. She lost the 2024 general election to current Congressman, U.S. Representative Bill Huizenga. It was 55-43%. The 4th District is drawn along the Lake Michigan shoreline from southern Ottawa County south to St. Joseph and runs east through Kalamazoo and Battle Creek. It has been targeted as a potential pickup by national Democrats. Huizenga, who has represented the area in Congress since 2011, would be considered a strong favorite for re-election, but there are also some reports that he might be considering a run for the open U.S. Senate seat, that vacancy created by Democrat Gary Peters, who has announced his retirement from Congress. Other news, public interest in the Michigan Department of Transportation's plans to reconstruct Main Street in downtown St. Joseph is high based on turnout at an open house last night. MDOT invited the public to come and learn more about its latest ideas for the work slated for 2027. The agency's Nick Sharippa told us they're going to rebuild the M63 I-94 business loop and change Port Street and Ship Street to two-way streets. They're currently one-way. With the implementation of paid parking on the west side of Main Street, we asked how pedestrian crossings from the east side might improve.
There are several changes coming to pedestrian crossings. There are 2 that are going to be eliminated, several that will be signalized, and a couple new and unsignalized. So we're trying to put them where they're going to be the safest. And I know the 2 that we're eliminating, they just weren't very safe crossings because of the way traffic moves along that corridor.
Public comments from previous meetings resulted in some of the plan's features. Sharippa said he wasn't surprised to see a full house last night.
This is impressive. This keeps pace with what we saw the last meeting as well. Certainly, there is local interest because, again, it's their Main Street, right? It's their vitality.
Sharippa said the plans are still not finalized, which is why more public comments were taken last night. We have a link for more information on the reconstruction project in St. Joseph at our website, WSJM.com. It's now been more than 40 days since a referee was assaulted after a basketball game at Dowagiac High School, and still no decision on charges for those involved. Cass County Prosecutor Victor Fitz tells us they've received the case in early March, but they're still holding on to it, waiting for some follow-up information from police before a determination on charges is announced.
On March 5th, the prosecutor's office received a request for charges against multiple persons in this matter, and 2 days later, the prosecutor's office requested that additional follow-up be conducted. We are awaiting the completion of that follow-up, and once it's received, this office will take further action regarding this incident.
Prosecutor Fitz says he expects to receive the information soon.
It's material relevant to our charging decision, and again, I know that the police agency is continuing to accumulate the information that's being requested, and we're anxious to receive it, and once we do, again, we'll make a decision regarding the matter.
On February 26, several individuals were captured on video throwing objects at a game official, knocking him to the floor at the conclusion of the Benton Harbor Buchanan Boys District playoff game. The official was escorted off the court and out of the facility by police. One Benton Harbor employee was fired for his alleged role in the incident. And finally, Medic One Ambulance and Southwest Michigan Community Ambulance Service are continuing their push to merge operations. Now they're asking for support from area municipalities that they contract with. Speaking to the St. Joseph City Commission this week, Medic One Director Jason Wiley said the way ambulance services operate has not significantly changed in decades, and the two want to team up and make updates and increase efficiency.
So we want to come together to take Medic One Ambulance and Smackus Ambulance and combine that into what we would like to call Southwest Michigan Mobile Healthcare. This is a new agency with a new vision and a new mindset and a completely new operational model, which is actually the most important piece.
One change they'd like to see, Wiley said, sending trained paramedics on all calls, whether they're needed or not, is not an efficient use of staff. Also, the group plans to implement 12-hour shifts for staff that currently work 24-hour shifts. As they prepare to join forces, the two are seeking to start a community paramedic program and start running SUVs for some transport jobs. Medic One asked St. Joseph City Commission Monday to approve a $1 per capita increase to the city's service charge so that Medic One can purchase new vehicles with advanced life support equipment. Commissioners agreed the final merger must be approved by the board of each ambulance service. That's a look at some of the news that we're covering in the WSJM newsroom. We have more. We'll tell you about it at 7:30, but right now it's 7:11. It's Wednesday, April 9th. I'm Ken Lundberg. It's the WSJM Morning Show, and we appreciate you being here. We also appreciate being here in the studio this morning from the Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety, Tim Tracy and Justin Barden. They're both firefighter inspectors with Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety. We're here today to talk about code enforcement, but first, let's introduce who's in the studio, and then we'll get to our sportscast. But who wants to begin? Who am I speaking with here today?
Justin Barden.
Okay. Let me qualify all of this by saying they're actually on duty right now, firefighters. They've got their truck outside, so if a call comes in, they're going to have to leave the studio, and we'll deal with that as it will. But by the way, I should hasten to say thank you very much for your public service. We appreciate you.
No problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Justin.
Justin Barden here, firefighter inspector through Benton Harbor City. I also do marijuana compliance.
Okay.
Rentals with Tim and the rest of us here, commercial fire inspections.
Okay.
And, ordinance.
Okay, ordinance enforcement, which is the code ordinance enforcement. The code enforcement is what we're going to talk about today. Tim, go ahead.
My name is Tim Tracy. I've been with the city a couple years now, and I also do inspections. Responsibilities include firefighting, and on top of that, commercial fire inspections, rental inspections, ordinance, any kind of ordinance violations that we see, and we work closely with the building department of the city.
Okay, excellent. And the thing that we're here to talk about today is code enforcement, how to beautify Benton Harbor. Who wants to give us, in a nutshell, in a basic overview of what the problem is and what we're going to deal with?
So code enforcement is all about the quality of life of the residents. So we have people that don't live in Benton Harbor dumping their trash in Benton Harbor, and it's all about, we see, trash. We'll do rental inspections. We'll do all kinds of inspections, abandoned vehicles. And there's some amazing people that live in the city of Benton Harbor that deserve better than what they're getting. And we're trying to clean that up.
Yeah. And really, this is an always on type deal, but there's enforcement season, and we're in it now.
Absolutely.
So what do you want people to know? What's the bottom line?
Just want to clean the city up. We hear the stories from older generation, how beautiful it was.
Yeah.
And it would be nice to see that again. Some of these old buildings we get into and inspect, the artwork, craftsmanship built into these could absolutely be beautiful. And then to see that again, the city has great potential.
Yeah. Yeah. And it starts by cleaning it up. So we'll talk about that in just a moment with Tim and Justin. They're here from the Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety. Code enforcement is the topic. We'll continue this discussion right now on the video live stream. We'll get on the radio here with sports. Dave Wolf, probably talking about the Tigers beating up on the Yankees. 2 games in a row now.
There we go.
2 games. Yeah, you got like 5-0 yesterday. So the Yankees may have those cheating bats, the torpedo things, but like Dave says, you got to hit the ball to get somewhere. All right, it's 7:14. It's the WSJM Morning Show. We'll continue this conversation on the video live stream. Sports right now. We'll be back.
Major League Baseball, Tigers.
All right. Yeah, baseball fans, either of you? Any?
No, son's just getting into it.
Oh, really?
I probably will.
How old's your son?
5.
Oh, that's
Yeah, just
fantastic.
starting T-ball, so I probably will be a fan here pretty quick.
Nice. T-ball's a fun one. I can tell you, because I mean the kids that get up there, and from my experience, my boys love my boys. I have 3, and I'm trying to think diplomatically how to say this because I know at least one of them is watching. Not always the most coordinated, as even when the ball is on the tee. It's like, no, hold the bat like this. Oh, you're left-handed. Okay. Anyway, so good morning again. Welcome to the WSJM Morning Show video live stream. Just looking at the video live stream comments, good morning to Mike, Bill, and Diane, and others who are watching. We're talking today with Tim Tracy and Justin Barden. They're both firefighters and inspectors talking about code enforcement with the Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety. This is not a new. Code enforcement is not new. It's always been here. Why the push now?
Well, we see all these issues that need to be addressed, and historically we've tried to address them, and essentially the results aren't what we wanted it to be. So now we're trying to change our approach to all of this. We got more people trying to do the job, and I think with this new strategy we have in place, I think we're actually going to make a difference. Yeah.
What were you seeing as the resistance before? Why weren't you?
A lot of it is education. A lot of the residents of the city aren't aware of ordinances, or they'll just see a pink tag on their house and they don't know what it's there for. And now we're trying to post through Facebook, educating people on the ordinances and say, hey, this is what's coming. Also, if anybody's listening to this and they live in the city of Benton Harbor and they rent and you want a rental inspection, reach out to the Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety, and we are happy to come out and perform a rental inspection of the property.
What is that? What is a rental inspection, and why would I want it?
So a rental inspection essentially is you're a tenant, you're living in a rental property, and you're living in conditions that aren't up to code, we'll say.
Okay.
And there's conditions that you want fixed, and you're reaching out to your landlord, and you're just not getting the response that you want. You could reach out to the Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety. We'll do an official inspection of the premises, and based on what is required by a landlord to provide for his tenant, we will put that in a report and send it to the landlord and say, you need to fix this within a certain time frame.
So the person calling for an inspection, will they be kept anonymous? Can they be kept anonymous?
Yeah, they can. So rental inspections. So if you're a landlord in the city of Benton Harbor, you're required to get your rental property registered, and a rental inspection goes along with that process. So every rental technically is supposed to be inspected within the city of Benton Harbor. But there's properties out there that we don't know are rentals at the moment. And we're still ironing out the process in which we're going to operate under.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, there's wear and tear that happens, and maybe I start tripping over a step because it's in bad condition, poor condition, and the landlord has been slow about fixing it or just not wanting to fix it. The inspection will help the tenant get that fixed because it's a safety issue.
Yeah.
It's quality of life.
Yeah.
Outlet's not working, and then you have abundance of extension cords running to things, and we see fires with extension cords quite often.
Yeah. Okay. So those kinds of things. I didn't even think about that. The outlet's not working, so you inspect all of that.
Yeah, absolutely, top to bottom, outside, around the house, how the exterior even looks.
Okay.
Everything.
So in just a moment, we've got to get the weather forecast, and then we'll come back. And what I can do is maybe ask you a little bit about some of that awareness campaign. I love what you've been doing on Facebook, posting the different signs and what they mean. So we'll talk about that, some of the common misperceptions maybe as well, and then share the stories. I want to hear about the good and dirty stuff. So let us know. All right, we'll be right back. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Early overnight hours, lows in the mid-30s. A shower or two could linger into Thursday, then will become dry. Highs tomorrow in the upper 40s, then will return to near 50 Friday. A very spring-like weekend is in store with lots of sun and highs warming to the low 60s by Sunday. I'm WSG 22 meteorologist Jessica Burns.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
It's the WSJM Morning Show, 7:19. Welcome to your Wednesday. We made it to midweek, and I think we're doing good so far. We only had trace snow earlier, And the rain is supposed to stay in the form of rain later this afternoon, so that's good news. We've got 31 degrees in Benton Harbor right now, 32 in St. Joseph, 31 degrees in South Haven. It's the WSJM Morning Show. This morning, our special guests in studio are from the Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety. Tim Tracy and Justin Barden are here. They're both firefighters / inspectors / now media stars. Because I'm sure you told all the guys back at the firehouse you're going to be on WSJM this morning, right?
Absolutely.
So they are all watching on the big screen, stirring the chili. Because, you guys have chili at firehouses, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Good chili?
Good chili.
All right. Okay. We're here to talk this morning about code enforcement. And just a caveat, just a qualification here. They're on duty right now. So Tim and Justin, if they get a call, you'll hear it on the radio first, and then they'll just leave the studio and go fight a fire, which we thank them for. So please, by all means, we understand. But tell us a little bit more. We're talking about code enforcement this morning. I like what you're doing, especially with helping to raise awareness of what the issue is and what people need to do. What are the things that you're hearing back from the community as you're starting this new campaign to really help people understand why the code enforcement is happening?
We're getting a lot of good feedback. There's also not, but I believe there's more good than there is bad.
Okay.
And then you can also see it. We'll post, and you'll see a huge change in trash pickup that I'm seeing already. Or come back up to a place that we did post and see the work that has been done. We're willing to work with people.
Yeah.
We see you're working. We're not gonna, repost it or hound you. We see that you're doing it.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
Let's talk about that process for a moment. So when you say post it, that is the culmination of we've taken a look at things and they're not in order. So maybe walk us through the process. How does this all begin, and what happens before the posting and then after?
So we'll be driving around, see abundance of trash. So we'll take pictures of it. We have our place cards that you see. It'll say ordinance violation. Through there's a checklist. We'll check it, trash or trees down or cars, structure. We'll mark trash, give the appropriate amount of days, and then we'll go through our app and post it through that, and then we'll also mail it out so that way you get it in the mail. And then the next steps would be if you don't, then there's violations.
Okay, so the first notice I receive either as a tenant or landlord, would it be the landlord of record who would get it?
Yes.
Okay, or a property owner.
Yep.
And so the first notice I get is where?
So the first notice as the owner,
yes,
would be we put it on the door.
Okay.
So that's also tenant.
Is that the pink tag?
Yep.
Okay.
And then right after that, as soon as we're done with the day of going around the city, we go back and then mail them out.
Okay. Okay. And then you say the appropriate amount of days. What is that typically? What's the turnaround for me to get something fixed?
It varies based on the violation, but we typically give a week so we mail it out, give time for the landlord to receive it and time for, like he said, if we see anybody working on it, we're not going to hound them.
Okay. Okay. What are you finding out there as you've done this? What are you seeing? What are you on the lookout for? I know you said trash and trees down, but what are you finding when you get into it?
So abandoned cars is another big one.
Yeah.
Or houses with multiple cars.
How can you tell a car is abandoned?
No wheels.
Okay, that's a good one.
No license plate.
Okay.
Or the tag on there says from 1992.
Okay. That'd be a good indicator.
Broken windshields, just moss built up on it from years of sitting underneath trees.
Yeah.
Indications like that.
We also have so many structures in disrepair. Like there's a burnt up house on every block almost, and working with. It's a little different if those are privately owned versus owned by the county or the city. So just working with trying to get those either tore down or fixed up, because those just as they are a hazard.
Yeah. You guys, the city recently started a project to take down about 16 structures?
I believe it is 16. But
how does that go? What's the process there?
So I believe I'm not 100% sure, but I know that there's I think a grant's involved, so they have federal money to help us out. And they identified 16 structures that may have been owned by the city or the county, so they don't have to go through the legal process. And they're able to just get those knocked down using federal money, I believe.
Yeah. No, I believe you're correct. And what that does, is it helps remove the blight in the area, so that you just don't, because you don't know how major or significant an eyesore is until it's gone, and then you think, oh gosh, what was there again? Oh, this is such a nice open area.
And we also have to accept the risk along with having those houses in there, because so in a traditional municipality, if you pull up to an abandoned house in a fire, you can somewhat assume that house is going to be abandoned. But in Benton Harbor, we have to put firefighters in harm's way to go search that building, because we don't know if there's homeless people living in there or there's people squatting in there. So we have to accept that extra risk as firefighters in the city by allowing those properties to be there, because we have to search them if there is a fire.
Got it. Okay. In for abandoned buildings, structures in Benton Harbor, what am I supposed to be doing if I'm a landlord or a property owner? What am I supposed to do if my structure is abandoned? Am I supposed to secure it in certain ways?
Yes.
How does this work?
It has to be secured, and there's ordinances. So the building department and the building official will work with whoever the landlord is to either fix the property up or assist them with the resources to get it torn down. But properties in disrepair have to be secured.
Okay. What are we thinking about for fines? Are there monetary penalties attached to some of this? And what does that look like?
Yeah, so a secured house would still be 100, just because you could get the permits to hopefully build the house back and or tear it down, like Tim was saying.
Okay.
If it's not secured, it's $500.
$500 if it's not secured, and that just means, if there's an open window or an open door and people can come in and out of there at leisure, you're going to be fined for that. Wow, that's big.
Yep.
Okay. What kind of response do you get from people when they receive your violation? Is it always kind?
So it's not always kind, but what we explain to them is, like, we're trying to clean the city up, and it's really a partnership between them and us that's going to get it done. It can't just be all on us, and it's not all on them. It has to be a partnership.
Yeah.
There's times where, hostility will happen, and we talk, and then they kind of realize what we're trying to do, and what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
So,
do you receive special training on how to diffuse those kinds of situations?
Through some of the courses, yeah.
How does that go?
Talking, just seeing if somebody's, by the way they're talking, if they're starting to be hostile, don't feed that. Don't come back hostile. Also, it's their house that they just lost, or it's the house that they're struggling to rebuild. Everybody's going through a little bit of something, so just show some compassion.
Yeah. So this campaign started in earnest in March, just last month. How much progress have you made so far, would you say?
We've been hitting it pretty hard.
Yeah.
Last week I've probably around 40. I've put out myself.
40 notices for people to clean stuff up. Okay.
And or going up to abandoned structures and putting unsafe to occupy or condemning them.
We've condemned probably another 25 houses.
Yeah.
Okay. The process for condemnation, how does that go, and how long is that turnaround?
So a condemnation is just essentially a call to action. So the owner has to get involved with the building department, and they'll say, if you want to uncondemn or make this house safe to occupy, you have to do these things or knock it down. Just as it is, it's in violation. Essentially, is what a condemnation is.
Wow. Okay. And do you have any kind of estimate on how many properties this could potentially affect as you go through?
Oh, that's hard to say.
Yeah, it is.
That's hard to say. A lot.
I mean, hard to say because it's really a one-by-one basis. You got to figure on an individual basis.
Yeah,
okay.
It's the more we are getting into this, the more we're seeing.
Okay.
And then really going by the codes.
Okay. All right. I have a lot of questions, so we're going to come back in a couple of minutes, including on the political front too, because I can imagine that at some point somebody's going to say to their city commissioner, "Hey, this is why are you picking on me?" And from your standpoint, it's public safety.
Absolutely.
And so at some point, I imagine there's going to be loggerheads. So. We'll talk about that in a moment here on the WSJM Morning Show. It's 7:29. We've got ABC News coming up, but first we're going to get the latest on the financial markets, see what they're doing today about the tariffs and everything else that's happening in the business world. We'll get the latest from Bloomberg. That's coming up right here on WSJM.
This is your Shamrock Impact.
Okay, still on the video live stream here. How we doing? Is this good?
Good.
Is this what you expected?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Fantastic.
You can thank Brian for setting you up on this. No, we asked Brian. How do you say his last name?
Kazmerzak.
We asked Brian to come in, but he had unfortunately another commitment to get to. But he put the word out to you gentlemen and said, "Hey, would you be willing to do this?" And thank you. You immediately responded, which I guess you're firefighters, so you do immediately respond to stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe we can talk a little bit about your personal backgrounds while we're on the video live stream here, though. But origin story, starting off here, where are you from, Justin?
I'm Sister Lakes.
Okay, Sister Lakes area. So you grew up out in the country area. What made you decide to get into the line of work that you're in?
Just being physically able to help people in need.
Yeah.
And then just some childhood incidences that see firefighters or EMS coming to help. I want to be that person that kids can see that knows something's safe when I show up to help.
Yeah, that's cool. So I mean, how did you get into the line? Did you have to go through special training?
Yeah. So we had a fire academy through here at Benton Harbor.
Okay.
We still have them twice a year. So went through that. I volunteer at Sister Lakes. That's where it started.
Okay.
So I volunteer at Sister Lakes. And then got put into this academy and then loved it from there. Just want to chase this career. Best career in the world.
That's great. And Tim, how about you?
I volunteer on Bangor. I served 4 years in the Marine Corps, and then I got out, and I was kind of looking for a way to continue to serve, and I found volunteer firefighting, and then I just fell in love with it. And I went through Benton Harbor's academy, and I was fortunate enough for them to extend me an offer through the academy, and then the rest is history. I've been there ever since.
That's great. Well, thank you for your service in the United States military as well. What'd you do in the Marine Corps?
I did communications.
Okay. What does communications mean in the Marine Corps?
So you do radios and everything.
So you were on the radio then?
Yeah.
So he's familiar with this. This is old hat. Okay. Did you get any time overseas?
Yep, I did. I did one deployment.
Okay. Where was that?
I deployed with the Navy. I was attached with the Navy, and we got to go to a bunch of countries, Middle East, all that stuff. So.
Do they give you a hard time about getting a ride on them?
Yeah, they
okay.
Do. Yeah.
Sorry.
Good times, though. Good times.
No, that's excellent. Well, no, we appreciate you both for doing this. And so why did you decide to get into the career?
So I got out, and I was just looking for a way to continue serving, and my dad is the chief of Bangor, and so I got on there as a volunteer, and the rest is history. I fell in love with the fire service and everything it is. And there's the whole code enforcement and inspection side of it is just another way to help people.
Yeah. I mean, it's the preventative.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right? It's getting out in front of it before it starts.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Any challenges when you're talking about code enforcement? I mean, do people eventually, I mean, if you were breaking it down percentage-wise, how many people get it when they get the notice?
It usually takes a conversation, and once we explain it to them and treat them with respect and say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we'd like you to do, we get compliance.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're going to continue the conversation here in just a moment. I'm going to ask for stories. So if you have any stories of what you saw, or really would appreciate you if you would share that, just because I think it helps people really understand what it is that you're out there looking for, what you're doing, and what people do to get the remediation in place. So we'll come back and do that in just a moment. We're going to listen to the Bloomberg Market Minute here in just a moment. I'm going to make sure these gentlemen have what they need as far as coffee and water, and we'll be right back. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
SJM is brought to you by Sturgis Bank and Trust. Let's grow together. Serving Berrien Branch, Kalamazoo, St. Joseph, and Van Buren counties. Now with 2 new locations in St. Joseph, downtown, and on Cleveland Avenue. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Stock futures were moving lower this morning. President Donald Trump's latest round of tariffs is now in place. Trump's latest tariffs push those imposed on China this year to as high as 104%. And now China has raised tariffs on U.S. goods to 84%. Oil today sank to a fresh 4-year low on demand concerns. It was well below $60 a barrel this morning. Another major loss for Wall Street yesterday that started with promise. Stocks jumped higher at the opening bell, but after another volatile session, punctuated by tariff remarks from the White House. The Dow finished down 320 points. The S&P 500 fell 79. The Nasdaq slid 335 points. Former Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers warned that the U.S. is now likely headed toward a recession, with potentially 2 million Americans put out of work thanks to tariff increases. Summers spoke with Wall Street Week, predicting losses in household income of $5,000 per family or more. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
7:35, it's the WSJM Morning Show. I think that's the first time I was able to get water for a firefighter. Usually you guys are bringing the water. No, we're having a great conversation with two individuals from the Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety, Tim Tracy and Justin Barden. They're firefighters and inspectors, and they're part of the team that's responsible for code enforcement, making sure that your property is in good shape and in good order in Benton Harbor. And they have launched a new campaign to raise awareness, to clean up the city. I mean, really, their whole thing is to beautify Benton Harbor. So we'll continue that conversation in just a moment. We've got to get to some news. We'll have that. And we have the latest right now from ABC. We'll be back with the tease of our local news next.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Just in, China has announced it is raising its retaliatory tariff on U.S. goods to 84% now, up from 34% effective April 10th. Stock futures sharply lower on that news.
The president insists the tariffs will, in the long term, bring back American manufacturing jobs. But one Florida retailer who sells stationery for women is now suing, telling ABC's Stephen Portnoy the tariffs will have catastrophic consequences.
Our backs are against a wall, and we're going to have to end up cutting salaries, raising prices, not hiring people in America that we wanted to.
But grocery store chain Stu Leonard's has a different outlook, saying tariffs will lead to more business for American companies.
ABC's Lana Moise. New death toll from the Dominican Republic roof collapse has now hit 113. Rescuers are still looking for survivors. Police in Spotsylvania, Virginia say they now have all 3 suspects in custody after a mass shooting today. This is ABC News.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
31 degrees in Benton Harbor, 32 in St. Joseph, 31 in South Haven right now. And we have some partly cloudy skies, and we're supposed to get rain today, but not till late afternoon, maybe around 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock this afternoon. So pay attention to the rain. We've got that this evening as well. The news that we'll have at 8 o'clock this morning, there's a new 200-unit apartment complex that's proposed in Lincoln Township. That's moving forward. The Board of Trustees met and voted last night to approve a rezoning request. We'll tell you a little bit more about that development. It's on the fast track, at least as far as some of the initial approvals go, so we'll talk about that. Lincoln Township Board of Trustees has yet to review a proposed settlement on using a sewer line that's owned by St. Joseph Township. We'll talk a little bit more about what they think is their next step. And then also a crowdfunding campaign has been launched to support development of a new park in Chickaming Township. We'll tell you about their goals and what they plan to put in the park. It's pretty cool. We will continue our conversation this hour. We're talking with Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety firefighters Tim Tracy and Justin Barden. We're talking about code enforcement. We're going to get to the lowdown, the nitty-gritty here in just a couple of minutes on our video live stream. So tune in on Facebook and YouTube for that. Right now, though, we're going to get sports from Dave Wolf right after a look at state news.
The Michigan News Network.
All right, back on the video live stream. You know, we were listening to the national news there from ABC. And in the Dominican Republic, dozens of people killed at a nightclub when all of a sudden the roof collapsed, right? A couple of Major League Baseball players there, people on the stage, people, just regular citizens in the crowd. And it made me think, this is part of what you're out there doing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because, code 100%. Enforcement is all about making sure the structures are safe. What do you run into when you kind of look and you shake your head and think, it's only a matter of time? What are you finding out there?
During one inspection, we found an active gas leak in an apartment complex.
An active gas leak, like natural gas.
And they were smokers in the house.
Oh, you're kidding.
And it was pure luck, avoided that catastrophe. That could have been real bad.
Wow. How did you come upon that?
Well, when we do our inspections, if we smelled natural gas, so then we went out to our truck and grabbed our gas detector, and there was an active gas leak in the utility room, and they just had that door closed, and they hadn't walked in there with a lit cigarette and avoided that catastrophe.
That's incredible. I mean, because that kind of buildup, depending on the concentration, you're talking about a house explosion.
And it was an apartment complex, so
wow,
it would have been horrible.
We see that from time to time where you see on the news house destroyed by explosion, and I usually assume that they've got a meth lab like Breaking Bad building in the basement or something like that. But it can be as something as small as and significant as a gas leak.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay. What does it usually take to repair these kinds of things or make sure they're properly maintained?
So we will notify the landlord and everything, but we'll get the gas company out there to shut off the gas immediately. And essentially, the gas company and the landlord will work together to get it repaired for the gas to be turned back on.
Yeah, yeah. And I have to assume it's probably usually not that big a deal. They're just somebody's got to take care of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Taking action to fix these things. Yep.
Yeah. You ever find does code enforcement involve rodents or anything like that?
Absolutely.
Tell us about that.
Infestations, bugs, rodents.
You ever find anything like that?
Absolutely.
What'd you find?
Roaches, bed bugs.
How do you find bed bugs?
They get so bad that you can see them moving at the time during the day.
You're kidding.
Around corners, beds, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
And then we back out from there.
Yeah.
And then just instantly, right for that. And then we'll come back once it's taken care of to hit the rest of the structure.
Yeah. So that is a bed bug infestation. That is a code violation of some sort?
Yes. So depending on the type of occupancy that it is, it dictates who's responsible for paying for the treatment.
Okay.
And off the top of my head, I can't remember, but I think a single family home, it's the tenant.
Yep, tenant.
The tenant's responsible, but if they live in a multi-unit apartment, then it's on the landlord.
Okay, because they got to get their building under control kind of thing.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, because they freak me out. All bugs not all bugs, just ticks, bed bugs. I don't much mind spiders. They're kind of friendly.
They're not so bad.
They're not so bad. But I mean, I did some research on it, and the bed bugs, the way you find them is typically they only come out at night. Typically, unless their residence is so crowded they got to come out during the day. But they hide like in the seams of the mattress, right?
Yeah.
Or couches.
Or couches.
Yeah, we've seen them. I've seen it so bad where the carpet, the creases of the wall where the carpet meets.
Man, so what do you do in that situation? I mean, for your own, so that you're not taking bed bugs home. What do you do?
We have spray that we'll spray our boots off and everything, and we'll bag up our clothes and take a shower.
What kind of spray? Can you get it off the shelf?
Yes.
Yep, bed bug spray. Right at the hardware store. That's where I purchased my last.
You guys weren't doing bed bug inspections before
just
this, were you?
Just right before we got here.
Right before we got here.
Yeah.
I wondered why there was a mattress on the fire truck. That's another thing. You talk about illegal dumping mattresses.
Oh, that's huge.
What do you want people to know about that?
And that's another thing with these condemned homes.
Yeah.
It becomes a dump site.
Oh.
So we'll go do this, and then behind the house, you'll have couches, chairs, beds. I mean, you'll find it. Cribs. I mean, it's just straight trash.
And a lot of times you'll have people offer trash services to the residents of the city, and they'll be like, we'll take your stuff to the dump, and then they end up, getting all the trash from the resident and then just taking it to one of these houses and dumping it there. And we'll find, mail from this resident, and we'll go to them and be like, I know you didn't do this. Who did this? And essentially,
We're going to talk about that in just a moment because that irks me. I bet it irks you as well. So
Absolutely, yeah.
we'll start that in a conversation in just a moment right here on the WSJM Morning Show at 7:44. We've got the Moody on the Market update. That's coming up next. We also have news. Our news is coming up from ABC at the top of the hour. We'll get the latest world and national news. Then we also have our local news coming up from the WSJM newsroom. Thank you so much for joining us on the WSJM Morning Show.
You can count on.
Another cool day, highs in the low 40s with a rain-snow mix arriving late. Any accumulations look very light. The mix will continue into the early overnight hours, lows in the mid-30s. A shower or two could linger into Thursday, then will become dry. Highs tomorrow in the upper 40s, then will return to near 50 Friday. A very spring-like weekend is in store with lots of sun and highs warming to the low 60s by Sunday. I'm WSG22 meteorologist Jessica Burns.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
It's the WSJM Morning Show, 7:45, just 15 minutes before 8 o'clock. We've got the latest world and national news coming up from ABC. We've got our local news from the WSJM newsroom. Right now, we're on the video live stream on Facebook and YouTube. You can always tune in to the WSJM Morning Show between 7 and 8 o'clock on the radio, on your smart app, on YouTube, on Facebook. Who knows where else? Oh, we've got, so we're all over the place. We're inevitable. And right now, it's inevitable that we're going to talk about the Moody on the Market update. The Moody on the Market update is brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. And in the Moody on the Market update, what we talk about, gentlemen, is business updates, life in Southwest Michigan and why we love it here, and interesting people you should know. And I think we're hitting all three buckets this morning because we're talking about business updates, making sure that businesses are in compliance with the code ordinances. Interesting people you should know, you two gentlemen. So thank you for joining us and coming in today. Absolutely. And then also life in Southwest Michigan and why we love it here. You're working to make Benton Harbor beautiful again because it is a gorgeous location. And it used to be the spot. St. Joseph was kind of over on the other side going, nobody wants to go to St. Joseph. Benton Harbor, a lot of beautiful old buildings. Unfortunately, some of them in disrepair, and that's one of the reasons you're out here for code enforcement, to make sure that these structures are safe, that they're habitable, or if nobody's living in them, that nobody's living in them, right? Yep. But one of the things that we were talking about on the video live stream and I wanted to talk about here is the illegal dumping. That's one of the big things that you're going after. What has typically happened? You mentioned it about people illegal dumping. What are you seeing out there, and what kind of penalties do people face if they're caught for illegal dumping?
So we'll see people that don't live in Benton Harbor bringing their trash and dumping it in the city, and that's not fair to the residents of the city.
Have you seen this? I mean, where do you, is it like, because we've got cameras everywhere. Why would people be doing this stuff?
We've seen it. And we've seen trash from, different municipalities, people not even in the area. And we don't know if it's them actually dumping their own trash or people offering trash services and dumping it there.
Oh, yeah, because when you get their trash, inevitably there's some mail in there, junk mail.
And it's hard to hold people accountable if you don't know who did it. And so that's one of the struggles that we're facing right now is, do we cite them? There's a small fee and everything. We can give them a ticket essentially that they have to pay. But we don't know. Finding the person responsible is the challenge, right? So if somebody pays somebody to take care of their trash and that person that they paid dumps it at an abandoned lot in Benton Harbor, they have no knowledge of that, right? So it's all about finding that stuff out.
Yeah. And sometimes maybe you can get neighbors to help you out if they snap a smartphone photo or something like that and say, hey, this guy's not supposed to be dumping here, and now I'm going to be dealing with it. That you can help.
Yeah, we do get quite a bit of that now.
Okay.
They'll call us and say there's people dumping, and we try to go right out ASAP to go see if we can get them.
And that makes me think, or makes me wonder, what are those things that you would like the citizens to help you out with throughout this whole process of code enforcement? Where do you need their help? What would you like them to do, whether they're part of the code enforcement or not?
So, like I was just saying, catching people dumping, call it in, and then just average yard work. Just keep up with the yard.
Yeah.
Pick up trash, throw it away where it needs to be thrown. And just have some pride in where you live.
Yeah. What are some of the common areas where people start to fall down a little bit on that maintenance? You talk about the yards, but what are some of the most common things that people get written up for?
Structures in disrepair, we see a lot. So,
what is that? Yeah, holes in roofs.
Hole in a roof, and then they put a tarp over and stuff like that, or broken, boarded up windows, and you just have that piece of plywood there for a couple years and not fixing that, or down trees on a house and it didn't actually damage the house, so they just left the tree falling on the house.
Okay.
Structural issues down at the bottom, mortar work, falling apart, just years of no maintenance.
Yeah. What if a resident can't afford to make some of these fixes, repairs, removals, whatever? Do you have guidance for them?
We're there to work with everybody. We're not here to, put the fist down on anybody. And there's resources as well that like federal money and programs to help people fix their houses. And at City Hall, we have some of those pamphlets and stuff like that to be able to provide resources.
Okay. All right. Anything else that you want folks to know about code enforcement?
We're not individually picking on anybody through the whole city.
Yeah.
It's just we see it. It's a code violation. And if it's a code violation, we're writing it.
Okay. All right. We'll conclude this interview in a couple of minutes. We've got a couple more things to talk about on the video live stream. We've got a few messages here, but that's the Moody on the Market update for today, which is brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. We're talking with Tim Tracy and Justin Barden. They're firefighters and inspectors with the Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety. Back with more in just a moment.
We're watching over.
All right, so I've been badgering you about code enforcement this entire time. What do you guys do in your spare time? What do you do in your free time?
So I also personal train.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I have a gym out in Sister Lakes.
Oh,
so
cool.
I also run that.
You run a gym?
Yeah, I started a gym in Sister Lakes. Yep.
Man, you have no free time. Or maybe that is your free time.
Absolutely. If you do what you love.
Yeah.
None of this
never
feels
working
like
a
work to
day.
me. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's fantastic. So give us the lowdown. What's the name of your gym?
Sister Lakes Gym.
Okay.
Yep.
And what do you provide there? This is your opportunity for a free plug.
Yeah. We provide a little bit of everything. Do boxing.
Okay.
Classes, cardio drumming, personal training, free weights, cardio, basically everything.
Basically everything I need. I like that.
Yep.
What is cardio drumming?
So the girls will get a medicine ball, or like those big medicine balls.
Yeah.
And bucket drums, and they run through routines with the song.
Oh, cool.
Choreographed routines.
Okay.
Yep, we do that. And then we do on-air workouts for firefighters.
On-air workouts.
Yep.
What is that?
So it'd be air consumption, drills, and just in full gear.
Working out in full gear.
Wow.
Yep. Get people used to the heat. It holds the heat out, but it also hold it in when you're working. And then also breathing on a regulator.
Oh, wow.
Just getting comfortable in the suit. And
you got a lot of folks from the fire departments?
Yeah, from the area.
Try that out?
Yeah. Yep,
Okay.
It's growing. It's growing and it's catching on. We kind of just started doing it just on our own.
Okay.
And then, posting a little bit here and there on social media, and then it's been growing. And
Yeah. That sounds like something you could sell to people who will never be a firefighter, just so they can say, oh, yeah, I do the firefighter training, the on-air training.
Yeah. It's all completely free. We just do it just so we're making it's insurance, basically, making each other strong if something happens in a fire. And then also for the community.
That's great.
We want strong, capable firefighters come help.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I didn't expect that. That's good stuff. What do you do in your spare time, Tim?
Well, I between Benton Harbor and Bangor, I'm pretty busy with the fire departments.
Yeah. All work and no play, man. You got to do something.
I know. I love it though. Like you said, when you love what you do, it doesn't really feel like work. So between that, and I also do IT part-time as well. So
IT part-time.
I'm working on computers.
What does that look like?
Before I got into firefighting, I was a network administrator, so I did IT full-time, and then I ended up just switching and going part-time doing that and full-time firefighting, and haven't looked back since.
Wow.
And obviously, there's a pay cut involved and everything like that, but it's not about the money. Money. I love firefighting.
Yeah.
And everything that comes along with it.
Yeah. So in the just focusing on the IT aspect for a minute, it's not really IT, but it is AI, which is very heavily computer dependent. What do you think about the trends that are happening with AI?
It makes doing the IT job a lot easier because you could just ask your questions to the AI and it'll spit out some code and give you the answer. And
yeah, it's fascinating how how intuitive it appears that the AI is with your prompts. So I think, okay, how am I going to ask this question to make sure AI understands what I'm looking for? And it knows what I'm looking for even before I look. It's just incredible. Yeah. Incredible the way it's gone. AI help with code enforcement at all?
So you could ask it questions and it'll spit out some code. You have to double check it, verify that it's right. But most of the time it'll give you the answer you're looking for. If you ask what is the distance between fire extinguishers and this type of occupancy or something.
Oh, okay.
And it'll be like, 30 feet. And you look it up and it's right.
Wow.
Yep. And then like through the city website, I mean, you can Control F and look up any kind of code.
Okay.
Through the website or through the city, and it will give you the codes. It's all right there for everybody. That's how we look it up, just the same as a resident would.
Wow. So for that reminds me, and maybe we can talk about this just briefly on the radio, but for those people who either own property or control property, they're a landlord situation. If they are hearing this and they want to make sure that they're in code compliance, how would you recommend they go about doing that? I mean, start with the visual inspection.
Request an inspection from us, and if work is going to be done on your house, make sure you do it the right way. Make sure you pull permits with the city. That protects you as well. So it forces the contractor to get a permit, and it makes the contractor liable if there's any negligence or anything going along with the work. And a lot of landlords will do the work themselves and not pull permits, and they aren't licensed contractors. And so the quality of work that a licensed contractor would have done is not the same as what the tenant ends up getting. So pull your permit, get your inspections done, and we're there as a resource as well at any point in time. If you have any questions about what you should be doing or anything like that, you could reach out to us at the fire department, and we're happy to help you out.
Yeah, and we're 7 days a week. There's one of us there.
Okay.
So it's just not 5 days a week. We can take calls Saturday, Sunday for us.
Nice.
There's always one of us there on shift.
Okay. Phone number?
269-443-1046.
443-1046.
Yep.
Okay. All right. We'll be back in just a moment to conclude this interview. We're talking with Tim Tracy and Justin Barton. They're firefighter inspectors with the Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety, and code enforcement is the topic of the day. We'll be back in just a moment right here on the WSJM Morning Show.
From the Pat Moody Studios, this is WSJM FM Benton Harbor, St. Joseph, a product of Midwest Family Marketing and Media. Proudly serving our community. The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
It's a good portion of the area, I will say. Good morning and welcome back to the WSJM Morning Show. I was just getting the question from one of the firefighters here. How many people listen to your morning show? And what I like to tell people is, well, if your business would sponsor free Bitcoins today, let me put a line in front of you. All right, it's 7:57. It's just a couple of minutes ahead of ABC World and National News. Then we'll get our local news, and plus we have the video live stream as well. We get better metrics off of that, like Facebook and YouTube and that kind of thing. We put up a video of the protests that happened in St. Joe over the weekend, and I think I checked it this morning just because I was curious. So far, we've had 52,000 plus views of that one video. This is about a 2-minute video. A view basically means they watched it for at least 3 seconds. So, I mean, we like data around here. It's good stuff. Yeah. It's good stuff. But you like data as well, and you love code enforcement. So we've got just 90 seconds here. What's the bottom line? What, if nothing else, what do you want people in Benton Harbor to know about your code enforcement effort that's in effect right now?
We want you to work with us, and we'll work with you.
Yep. And then just, if the codes are followed, we're not writing anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just plain and simple. Everybody could see it. It's all online. All the codes are there. And then, we're here also for questions.
Okay. All right. So questions, or if you want an inspection, or if you just want to go and review the code to make sure that you're up to snuff, Or maybe you've got a neighbor. Good fences make good neighbors. Dilapidated buildings do not. And so maybe you want to call in your neighbor just for fun. They'll keep you anonymous, but what they're doing at the end of the day is keeping everyone safe. So, again, Tim Tracy and Justin Barden, Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety, firefighters and inspectors, thank you for what you do, and thank you for coming in this morning. We appreciate you sharing the information.
No problem. Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. And we appreciate you putting the fire truck big out there on the parking lot because, we feel safer that way. Did you notice anything here in the building here?
I didn't want to say anything. But
Oh, all right. I promise we'll get the bed bug problem under control soon. No, just kidding. All right, just thank you again, gentlemen. We do have, if you missed any part of this interview, by the way, you can check it out. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube. We have our video archive. It's going to be up there just instantaneously as soon as I hit stop on the air button. But the forecast for today, mostly cloudy, a 70% chance of rain or snow. That's going to move in this evening, probably after 5 o'clock. High around 42 degrees. Tonight's forecast, cloudy, 80% chance of rain or snow. We've got ABC News now, our local news next. It's 8 o'clock.
ABC News. I'm Sherry Preston. China